guys, we are in this video going to talk about simple probability, which is the chance of one thing happening. So if I flip a coin, what's the chance of it landing on heads? What's the chance it's going to rain tomorrow? Stuff like that. So let's get started. So like I said, simple probability is the probability of one thing happening, okay? So not this, then this. So like it rains and snows tomorrow, okay? Just one thing, just rain. It's always a value between 0 and 1, okay? That can be represented as a fraction, a decimal, or a percent. And we find the probability by the number of desired outcomes, so the number of things that we want to happen, divided by the number of possible outcomes, so the total number of things that could happen. Okay, and a way we describe probability is also the likelihood. So it's likely to rain tomorrow. Well, what does that mean? Or it's impossible for a six-sided die to land on 7. Okay? So like I said, it's between 0 and 1, so we have this scale between 0 and 1 of impossible to certain. I'll finish writing that word for you. There we go. Okay, so if there's a 0 chance, 0%, 0 as a decimal, it's not going to happen, okay? If it's certain, 100%, or 1, it's definitely going to happen, or maybe already did happen. If it's in the middle exactly, that's going to be equally likely or equally unlikely. So that would be 1/2 as a decimal, that's 0.5. As a percent, that's 50%. Okay, so here's our scale. And there's some spaces in between those two. Those are our benchmarks along the scale. But if it's from 0, doesn't include 0. Oops. There we go. If it's from 0, guys, I don't know what this is doing. There we go. And then any of this space in between 0 and 1/2, so 0.0001. It's really tiny, but it's not impossible. That's going to be what's called unlikely. If I can spell it right. There we go. Okay. Then we have 1/2 chance is equally likely or unlikely. Then if we have from 0.05 to 99% or 0.99 or 9/10, okay? It's more than unlikely, right? But it's not for sure certain, so that's what is likely. Okay? So, if it's in one of these purple, and I'll highlight them. So if it's on our benchmarks, it has to be exactly that number, but anywhere else in between is either unlikely or likely. So let's describe some likelihoods. There's an 80% chance of rain tomorrow, okay? Well, we said it was from 50% to 100% is likely. 80 falls in there somewhere. So our description of likelihood is, it is likely to rain tomorrow. Okay, and notice that I put it into a sentence. I said what our likelihood was, and I restated kind of the question. So what's the percent chance, or what's the likelihood of it raining? Okay, there's a 0.25 chance you will take a quiz today. What is the likelihood that you will take a quiz? Well, we said between 0 and 0.5 was unlikely. 0.25 falls in there. So it is unlikely you will take a quiz. Okay? All right, last last one. There is a 1 in 2 chance that a coin will land on tails. What is the likelihood it will land on tails? Well, we said that benchmark of 1/2, it's exactly 1/2, this case it is, meant that it was equally likely or unlikely. So it is equally likely or equally unlikely to land on tails. One side of the coin does not have a greater chance of landing on that side, like tails, and there's not a lesser chance of landing on heads. They're very equal. So, one side of the coin. Okay, so let's talk about probability now. Okay, it's not just likelihood. In a bag, there are 5 marbles. 3 green, 4 red, and 3 yellow. What is the probability that you will choose a red marble? Okay, write your answer as a decimal, round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so we write it, the probability of red, that's how we do our notation, equals, well, 4 of them are red. Let me start over. I'll write over here. Okay, there's 4 red. Remember that probability is the number of desired outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. Okay, so how many we want? There's 4 red that we want, divided by, I'm going to add the total number of marbles together. So 5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 3. Okay, that ends up being 15. So there's a 4 out of 15 chance that you will pick red, but our instructions say to write it as a decimal. So I'm going to take 4 divided by 15 is 0.266, and that 6 repeats. Okay, so we want to round to the nearest hundredth. Here's my hundredths place. I look next door. 6 is bigger than 5, so I add 1. So this rounds to 0.27. So the probability of red is 0.27. Okay? This table shows the possible outcomes, or what happened when someone rolled a die. What's the probability the die lands on 5? Well, probability is the number of desired outcomes divided by the number of possible outcomes. Okay, so let's see, we're looking for how many times they rolled a 5. Here's my numbers rolled. So they rolled the 5 3 times out of, to find the number of possible outcomes, I'm just going to add all of these ones together. So how many times they rolled each one, I'm going to add those together. Take a second, do that on your own. Okay, when I took 12 plus 13 plus 4 plus 16 plus 3 plus 2, I got 50. How about let's practice. Let's write our answer as a percent. Okay, so I'm going to take 3 divided by 50. Oops. Is 0.06 times 100 is 6%. So there's a 6% chance that the die will land on 5, based on the table what someone actually did. Okay, another way you might see it is in the table like this. You are playing a card game, The cards either attack the other player, defend yourself in the game, or earn you points. What is the probability of choosing a non-point card? Let's look at the table. I can see there's the attack cards, there's 12 that someone drew, there's 12 defense cards, and 6 point cards. We are looking for the probability of a non-point card. So the point card doesn't count. I want a defense card because that doesn't get me points. The attack card doesn't get me points. So the probability of non-point card equals 12 plus 12 is 24 out of 12 plus 12 plus 6 is 30. So 24 are not point cards out of 30 cards total. We're going to write your answer as a reduced fraction. So I'm going to look at these two and see what can I divide both of them by. Well, I see that they're even. I can divide both of them by 2. That gives me 12 out of 15. I know that 12 and 15 are both evenly divisible by 3. So it's 4 out of 5. And then that's it. I can't go any further. So there's a 4 out of 5 chance that you will not get a point card. I hope this video on simple probability was helpful, and likelihood. We talked about likelihood too. Just remember, simple probability, or any probability really, is the number of things you want to happen divided by the number of things that could happen. Okay? As always, let me know if you have any questions, and have a mathematical day.